Now, the number of women in Hull and East Yorkshire having abortions has increased year on year for the last 3 years. In Hull alone, the figures from the Department of Health have almost doubled from 490 to 832. Well, why is that? Dr. Kate Guthrie is a community gynaecologist, and she may have the answer.
We know that historically Hull had a very low under 10-week abortion rate, and the under 10-week abortion rate is a marker of efficient, accessible services. Because we historically were low, over the past few years we've put a lot of investment into increasing access to abortion services and also increasing the number of spaces for women and also sites you can have the abortion on. And I would think that, we know from our figures that we've gone down from being one of the poorest performers in the country, around about 2006, to being on par with the national average, and we're hoping to exceed that next year. It's also known that the more accessible and better services you have, the more women access them. So it may sound bizarre, but I think the increase in our abortion rate shows that we now have a much better, more accessible service. The number of women accessing this service will top off. It'll reach a maximum, then it will level off.
We'll be speaking live to Dr. Kate Guthrie after 8 this morning. The rest of the region, the picture there, in North East Lincolnshire, the numbers have pretty much stayed the same. And in North Lincolnshire, they've steadily decreased. Let's speak now to Paul Tully. Paul is General Secretary of the Society for the Protection of Unborn Children, and he's on the line this morning. Good morning to you, Paul.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us.
Sure.
You heard the doctor say that services are more accessible, they're better, and that's why Dr. Kate Guthrie thinks the figures have gone up. What's your response to that?
Well, I must say I found her comments rather chilling, just sort of saying that, well, we're providing a good service and lots of people are using it. The more service you provide, the more people use it. That's very disturbing when we're talking about something like abortion. And I think we need to consider not just the services that are being provided, but the drivers that are leading women to seek abortions. And we know what the kind of things these are. It's economic pressures, it's relationship problems, poor housing. These are the kind of things, because these women do not have abortions, simply because they want them. It's not on a whim. And we need stronger efforts from the pro-life movement and from others in society to support expectant mothers to continue with their pregnancies, because most of them would want to if they could.
What about supporting the ones that don't want to continue with their pregnancy?
Well, I would, I've never met a woman who wanted to have an abortion for its own sake. I mean, most people recognise that abortion is deeply morally conflicted, and this is the question that the doctors really have to sort out for and respond to, and people like Kate Guthrie really have to answer. They know that it is destroying the life of an unborn child, a member of our human family. This is not just a piece of tissue. Even in the earliest stages, before 10 weeks, from the very time of conception, we've got a new, distinct human being developing in the mother's womb. And that life is precious. That child will never be repeated. If that child is aborted, that child's lost.
This is a huge argument, of course, and the points you make are points that you're obviously going to make in your situation, in your role. But the fact is that lots of women do want abortions because they don't want to continue with the pregnancy. They can't bring up a child. So if... No, I haven't finished the question. So if the services aren't improved in order to give women abortions, then they're going to go through back street methods, aren't they? And that's incredibly dangerous, and we don't want that to happen.
No, well, let's be clear. Legal abortion is not necessarily safe. As we saw, for example, with the case that's been in the press, one case hit the press recently, Aisha Chitra, who died after an abortion, supposedly legal abortion, at an abortion clinic, an established abortion clinic in London. Not a backstreet abortion, but obviously it was fatal for her as well as her baby.
But you could say that about any operation. There's always a risk with any major operation or any minor operation that anybody undergoes. That's not really a reason not to do it.
Well, women are not properly informed about the risks involved, and abortion is almost always undertaken.
I have in front of me a huge pile of paperwork that women have to fill in when they take this incredibly difficult decision, in order to make sure that it is safe and that they are doing it for reasons that they are aware of, and that the state of their medical health is well known to them and to the doctor.
Aisha Chitra is dead. It did not ensure her safety. filling in forms does not necessarily ensure people's safety. Now, the point that you make, though, that women want abortions, I disagree with. Women do not want abortions. Women don't want to be pregnant. Women find themselves in difficulty because they find that they're struggling financially, their partner doesn't support them, their parents put them under pressure, their employer or their education seems to be at risk. And most women would prefer to find solutions to those problems and help to sort those things out, rather than simply being told, well, abortion's readily available here. It's not what women actually want.
So what would you do, Paul? You would take away the facilities, would you?
I think it's, if thinking about the facilities isn't the issue here, thinking about what is driving women to consider abortions is the question. Shouldn't we be providing women with the support and help that they need? This is what the pro-life movement is trying to do, is working to do, to provide women with the help and support that they need in order to avoid abortions. Rather than proclaiming that we've got a fantastic service here, so that GPs and social workers and teachers and others are thinking, oh well, this is the solution to a problem. It's a quick fix solution, and it leaves women with the memory, sometimes the lifelong memory, that they've destroyed their unborn child, and they have to live with that, and that's difficult. That's a problem.
Paul, thank you very much for joining us. Paul Tully, General Secretary of the Society for the Protection of Unborn Children. After 8 o'clock this morning, we will be speaking to Dr. Kate Guthrie, who is a community gynaecologist. If you have a view on anything you've heard this morning, with the news that we're reporting that the number of women in Hull having abortions in the last 3 years has almost doubled, from 490 to 832. Your view is very welcome this morning. It's a difficult topic, isn't it, for such an early hour of the morning, but if you have a view, we'd love to hear from you. 81333. Start your message with the letters RH.
It's 18 minutes past 7 then.